Hey guys, welcome to episode 4 of Heavy Thoughts. I'm Peter Pinto.
And I'm Jennifer Davis.
And this is FitLife Fusion here in Las Vegas. Today we're going to talk about, we're on the topic, now on the tail end of the topic of goals and motivation and, trying to get yourself started for the year. So what really started to come up in the questions was, how do I stick to something? The topic of quitting popped up a lot. This is really, being the end of January and moving into February, this is it gets tough. It starts to get, it's the sticky time for a lot of people.
People start getting bummed.
Yeah, people start getting bummed. There's a lot of stress. So many people start the year off and they're like, oh, I'm going to do this, and they're way more positive and optimistic than usual. And, as they get stressed out and everything starts to pile up, then they get way down about whether they're actually making progress or not. So that's what we're going to hit up today. Chat a little bit about that. What do you think about that, Jen?
Heavy thoughts.
Heavy.
It's heavy.
Super heavy thoughts. Okay. All right. So let's move into the first one.
Chris asks, every time I make a goal, I get stressed out or lose interest. How can I actually stick to things? All right, so what comes into my mind is, why are you getting stressed out about it? In previous episodes, if you've watched them, if you haven't, that explains why you're still getting stressed out. We kind of go into don't stress out. It goes into setting realistic goals for yourself and then just relaxing. We have so much stress from all other outside influences. Becoming healthy should not be stressful. If you're getting stressed out, you have too high expectations.
But it takes energy. People they're exercising if they haven't been exercising, so that requires more energy out of their day, right? There's, a million other things that they're trying to do, and the change is part of the stress. So
yeah, and it's tough. It's tough changing habits, but instead, I don't know. I think a lot of it is our inner dialogue, like what we're telling ourselves. If you're just like, oh my God, this sucks, or I'm so stressed out, this is stressful. I think if we say that a bunch of times, it becomes that. If you acknowledge the fact that it's a challenge and then find ways to, okay, how can I handle this challenge? How can I make this challenge a little bit easier? Or maybe view it for myself. What I did was, okay, if I have a challenge or something that is hard for me, or if I start to feel overwhelmed, I kind of switch it around and say, you know what, this challenge, this stressful situation, it's going to make me better or sharpen my skills. Maybe it's something that it's way out of my comfort zone. So I view it as an opportunity for growth and knowledge. Maybe turn it around like that.
No, I think perspective has a lot to do with it, right?
There's that word.
Right? Being optimistic, being positive about it. I think one of the biggest problems that people deal with is most people expect that if I eat right and if I exercise, I'm going to feel awesome. And every time I have a good meal, then I'm going to have a good, I'm going to have a good result in the sense that I will have great energy. I'm not going to feel down, and that's not exactly how it works. Something that we talk to our members, every time somebody signs up for nutrition coaching here, we tell them, look, at the beginning, you might actually feel great. Okay, you start eating some of the right things, you're getting the nutrients that you need, you're exercising, your body's going to respond to this. But remember, because it's new, it's this new stressor in your life, it's change. Change is a big deal, right? Making new habits, good or bad, it requires energy. So you're not just going to feel up all the time. You're not going to feel awesome all the time. In fact, if you are doing some of the right things dietarily, then you'll have some adverse symptoms that you wouldn't expect to have.
Feeling like you're the beginnings of a cold.
Right.
A little achy.
We talk about this all the time from the point of view, especially with most women who deal with symptoms of high estrogen. A lot of the time, their body has a whole ton of estrogen in them, but they kind of maintain this level, right, metabolically all the time. right? So they're used to it, but they're stuck, they're plateaued all the time. They're dealing with like skin issues, they're dealing with hair issues, they're dealing with like PMS, not so pleasant cycles, all of that stuff. And so when they start eating right, what they don't realize is estrogen can build up in their system. So when they start eating right, their body can start to release some of that estrogen back into the bloodstream so that it has to be filtered back out by the liver. And when your body's going through that process, it sucks. It sucks. You get all the symptoms of being high estrogen, like being irritable, depressed,
foggy-headed.
Foggy-headed, feeling puffy. Mm-hmm. So that's just an example of how when you are doing the right thing, you may actually get some results that you wouldn't expect. So
but again, that's only temporary as well.
And it's temporary.
Don't let that scare you. Keep progressing. Then the other one was how do I keep myself from losing interest? I was talking to some of our clients this morning about that. Make working out fun. Don't think that you have to go to the gym and it has to be so linear. Okay, I have to do bicep curls, then I have to do 10 squats. Make it a game. Incorporate, like you can do like something that we do here sometimes is like plank wars. You have a partner, you're in a plank, and then you have cards. Yeah, like little competitions, and make it interesting and make it fun.
Keeping it interesting, I'm definitely on that train, because if it's not interesting, if it's not fun, you won't stick to it. It's just kind of as simple as that. But I think one of the other things that a lot of people don't take into consideration is they don't actually plan before they make change. I think I may have talked about this in the past, but there's a great book. It's called Changing for Good, and they talk about the steps that people take, that the common steps that everyone takes when they go from what they call the stage of pre-contemplation, which is that point where you're like, let's say if it's smoking cigarettes, you're smoking a butt, you're like, it's this is my life. I don't care if it's bad or, good or bad for me. This is just what I want to do. So you're not really admitting the fact that there's an issue. Then you move into the state of contemplation, where now you're like, I really need to quit smoking. There's a problem, but you don't know what to do as to how you want to take the first steps to quit. And then moving into preparation is where you would actually educate yourself, know if I did start to quit, these are the things that I could start to experience. These are results physically that I could experience in my body. And then you actually take the action to do so. And then later on, once you go through that process, you're in that maintenance phase where you're trying to just maintain this new habit. Everybody with issues trying to achieve goals, everybody who has those issues of sticking to goals, usually skips over preparation.
Yeah.
They just don't get themselves ready to experience what they're going to experience. And because the unexpected by itself, even neurologically, from a neurological standpoint, because we're always talking about that here at FitLife, from a neurological standpoint, your body wants to keep you safe. It's built for survival, not for performance. So that means that anything unexpected in your life is a threat within your system. And your body does not want you to experience that. It would rather you avoid that. So, that's just one of those things that I think.
Yeah. And
keeping it fun is great, but, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not trying to come down on what Jen said or what you said. It's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
keeping it fun is great, and there's all these little tactics, but it's kind of like, tactic versus like religion, right? You want to bring what this change means to you is what you want to keep in the center of your mind.
Right. Yeah. Why are you starting this in the first place?
Yeah.
How important is it for you to keep going? Mm-hmm. I know for me, I am that type of person where, and we all are, we're human, but you start something and we quit. That's why we're talking about this. And I got to a point where my health finally became a priority. Not just, being like a size 3 or looking a certain way, but my actual health was important. My future and how, when I'm older, how I move became important. And that's what got me to stick.
Yeah.
My why became, what was it?
Why became strong enough.
Yeah, your why became strong enough.
So I think, let me see, just to make sure that, right, every time I make a goal after a few weeks. Yeah, so I think probably the first thing is if you're, after a few weeks, you're starting to get stressed out, first of all, what was the plan to begin with? If it was just a goal but there was no plan, then there's really nothing to remind yourself of how you planned on being successful with this goal. You know? Mm-hmm. So I always tell people, go over the plan, let's go over the plan, let's go over the plan. As soon as we sit down with everybody who walks through the door, first thing is, what do you want? What do you want? Okay, fine, that's what you want. Why do you want it? And if I, as a coach, don't know why you want something, or what it is that you want, and then why, then just bringing you in here and taking you through, exercise and eating right doesn't. I'm never going to get it to you. I'm never going to get all this stuff in here to relate to what you want and why.
Because it's not important yet.
So so write stuff down. What is it that you want? And why do you want it so badly? And if when you revisit that in 3 weeks, a month, 6 months, whatever, and the why doesn't really make that much of a difference, that's when, as Zechariah says, make a stronger why. Change it. Cool. Shall we go to the next one?
Yes.
Let's do it.
John wanted to know, how can he stop being so lazy?
I love this question. I think, I get all political on it. You want me to start? Do you want to get, what?
Why political?
Well, it's not like...
I know, not politics. But
it's not like I'm really taught, to some extent, but...
Okay,
Go ahead.
I have my thing to say, because it's
Get
real
it,
brief, and then you can take it away.
Okay.
All right, so I think why people are lazy is going back to kind of what we just said. You don't really want to do it. If I were to say, hey, let's go to Yosemite and go camping, you might want to do it. All of a sudden that laziness disappears. If I say, hey, let's go and get Mexican food, that laziness disappears. You're up and going and you're running out the door. Let's go see a movie.
Especially Mexican food over there.
Especially Mexican food for me. So make it important. It's not important enough for you yet. That's why I think, and again, it is hard. It's a challenge to start new habits, but really, ultimately, it's not because you're lazy. It's just not important enough yet, because you're not lazy.
Yeah, I agree with that, and that's where I was going with it. With this one statement, no one is ever lazy. You are always motivated. You're just motivated to do one thing more than another. It's as simple as that. If you are sitting on the couch saying, oh, why am I such a lazy shit? Why can't I do this? Blah, 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 right? You're not really being lazy. You're just more motivated to sit on the couch and kind of veg out, as opposed to get up and, do work or go to the gym or whatever. And again, it has to do with prioritizing. If, those people who are you have friends who are really passionate about things, and it seems like they can just do everything all the time.
They're very driven.
You never know when hanging out and relaxing never takes a back seat to what they're doing, but it's because they love what they do. That's just an example of somebody finding the energy all the time and staying motivated to do what they would rather do, as opposed to just be motivated to not do some of those things. If that makes sense. But understand that, when it comes to being motivated or being lazy, that neurologically, right, within your nervous system, we are always telling people that you're built for survival and not for performance. Performance relates to everything that you want to do with your life. Exercise, eat right, look good, work well, have good relationships, all of that. Survival is your body's undying tendency to want to take the path of least resistance. And the path of least resistance is whatever it is that you're used to doing to begin with.
Sitting on that couch.
Yeah, so if sitting on the couch is that thing, for some people it's smoking that butt when they end up getting, right? It's a Boston thing. You smoke a bat. But yeah, some people it's smoking a cigarette. Some people it's having a drink. And if that's a habit you want to change, some people don't want to change that habit. But if it's a habit you want to change, if you want to avoid the couch, avoid, marathoning Netflix and all that, then, in order to do other things that would progress you in life, whatever you want to call it, then what you need to understand about the survival versus performance thing is that your body wants you to do that stuff that you don't want to do anymore. Okay? As an intelligent being, you're trying to strive to do greater things, to support your family, to support your friends, whatever it is, to set yourself goals to reach them. But everything in your biology is telling you, hey, you know that thing that we usually do when we get home from work? Well, let's just do that.
Because that's what we do.
Yeah, because that's what it's exactly. Eating and recovering is far more important to your body, and of course staying away from danger or expending too much energy. And that's exactly what most people have the goal to try to avoid doing. Right? They're like, oh, I'm being lazy. I don't really think that you're being lazy. I just think that you have to have a good plan to attack this new habit that you want to form. Just create a new habit. And adding to that, it's like, why are you calling yourself lazy? Was that something that you grew up hearing? Did your parents call you lazy? Did you deal with guilt from that, and so now you call yourself lazy? Take that out. Like, your verbiage means so much. Like, what you tell yourself, if you're saying, I'm fat, you're going to end up being fat because that's what you're calling yourself. Or, I'm lazy. Well, then you're going to be lazy. It's as simple as what Peter said. It's just, if you go home and you sit on the couch, that's your routine, that's your habit, that's what your brain knows. So instead of calling yourself lazy, just say, I gotta conjure up a new habit. That's all. That's why I have so much of an issue sometimes being on Instagram. Right? Every time we go on Instagram, if you go and hit up any of those the hashtags like fitness, hashtag FitLife, I feel like here to us, FitLife means so different, something so different than all the crap that you see on Instagram, which is cool, and I think people are motivated. But go on Instagram right now and type in hashtag fitness or FitLife or health and well-being. It's 99% pictures of models, abs, bodybuilders, all that stuff, and I'm like, okay, I get it, but if health and wellness and fitness is only about being less than 10% body fat, I just think that this is where people are getting it. And how many memes do you see? Just do it, or which I get that, right? Just do it. It's something that is trying to motivate you, but on the other end of it, it's like just do it, or
not that simple.
You're a bum, or you're lazy. You can go to the gym, you can just go hit McDonald's with the rest of the fatties. And this is the stuff that we're all seeing. And that's
very extreme.
Yeah.
There's no balance to that.
Yeah. I guess I personally can deal with the hard type of coaching. I've worked well with coaches who are like, well, fine. Oh, if you can't do it, fine. If you can't, whatever. And that motivates me to want to do something. I've always been it's the Italian in me, right? Tell me I can't do something. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right. But I don't think that works in general with a lot of people. I think putting people down to see if they're going to, rise up.
Might not always be the best for that person.
I don't think it is.
Yeah. So just stop calling yourself lazy. You're already beating yourself up.
Change your perspective. I'm not lazy. I'm just more motivated to do this right now. And I have to give myself a reason to be more motivated to do the other.
Yeah.
So
I like it. That was good.
Am I all right?
Yeah.
Did you? Yeah.
I was like,
Did
next.
you get on that?
Yeah,
okay,
I was
next.
like. Lisa asks, How can I overcome my fear to fail?
First off, if you're the type of person who takes on goals, challenges, whatever have you, and you're the person also that is hopping off, right, and losing interest in quitting or getting down on yourself every time. I mean, so many people come in here and they're like, I've tried paleo, I've tried primal, I've tried keto, I've tried this, I've tried detoxes, and nothing ever works. I try and I fail, I try and I fail. So they're really hesitant to even want to try to work with us until, we get them to understand why they hop on, they try and fail. And a lot of it has to do just with the setup of most of, these diets and stuff. It's almost like they're designed to give you quick results, but zap you of your energy, and therefore
You stop.
Of course
you
you're
lose
gonna
momentum.
Stop. We expect you to quit when you're doing something like a keto diet, when you're doing something like primal or paleo, where they're cutting off your fuel source by limiting sugars and things like that, and then increasing protein, increasing fat, and your body's just always going through the stress of having to regulate your blood sugar. It's going through the stress of having to break down tissues in order to, keep you alive, essentially. It's a really stressful world of fitness that we live in right now.
Yeah. Like a lot of our clients, I have to think about this because I have like a lot of thoughts going through my head.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because,
there's different reasons why people, I guess, fail or stop and lose momentum.
or fear it.
And one of it, is because you're not getting enough nutrition or fuel just to keep going.
Right, you got to have gas in the tank.
Yeah. And then also, like a lot of our clients, especially like our older clients, and they get so discouraged because they even have more years of doing these diets and then stopping because of discouragement, or they've lost a ton of weight and then gain it back. But I have a certain person stuck in my head, and growing up, she was always told that she should lose weight, or that she was lazy, or that she was never enough. So I think there's also that emotional side to that, and that's where becoming healthy and losing weight, and for some reason improving yourself, it's always difficult. It's not just sticking to a certain, calorie baseline working out. That's not always the case. A lot of times it is a lot of emotional work and sifting through the crap that you went through as a kid. So this certain client,
These are all like built-in limiting beliefs.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. And this certain client, we kind of had to sometimes sit down and kind of go over what her mom used to tell her, and step by step, and each name, well, is that really accurate? No, you're not lazy. No, you're not fat. You might, have a different body type than what your mom had, or vice versa. But whenever she would lose weight, she would do really well, and then she'd get to that goal, and then she'd almost like wig out and then go back. And
she'd start labeling herself all of
yeah,
those things again.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I made it, but you know what? I'm actually a lazy person, or I never finish anything, so I stop. And so I think there's just a lot of things that you have to take into consideration when you're becoming healthier or focusing on health.
Yeah. Even just identifying those patterns.
Yeah.
Right? If you're the type of person that things that when it comes to goals, if it's 3 weeks, you might find consistencies in how you pick up challenges or goals, and then how much time it takes for you to drop them. Okay? It might be a 3-month thing. You might be a 3-week type of person. But if you think back and just try to kind of log it in your mind, you might find that you very consistently pick up and drop things in a specific amount of time. And that's okay, but you want to at least identify that so you can expect when that time does come up when you're taking on new goals. The other thing too is, fear and worry. I actually had a conversation in the gym just this past week about this. To worry and fear, be afraid about whether you're going to actually win or not, whatever the goal is, it's very much wasted energy. It really is. It requires energy for you to worry about something, to think about the worst case scenario and run over it in your mind. And that energy is the same energy. It's going to be pulled from the same energy pool that it takes for you to get up and go to the gym, to make the right choices while for food, to take your heart rate and temperatures before and after, and logging your journaling your foods and stuff. These are all things that we're asking people to do here. So, how valuable is that energy expenditure when it comes to being afraid or fearing or worrying about stuff? I think a good tool to use is to just get a piece of paper, take a pen, and write down all of the things that you are worried about, all of the things that you have fear around, and then on the other side of the sheet, write down all of the things that you want and expect to get out of your training or whatever it is that you're doing. I don't care if it's business, if it's fitness, health, it really doesn't matter. The point is you want to bring everything into perspective instead of letting everything just float around in your mind all the time. And if you can do that, you can start making better decisions as to where you want to actually put your energy. So instead of worrying about stuff all the time, focus more on the things that are going to get you those results so you don't have to worry about the other stuff.
And then also, who cares really if, let's say you're really trying hard to stick to, your meal plan for that week, and then you go to a friend's house and you splurge, and then you end up eating things that wasn't normally what you had planned to eat, for that day. Is it really that serious?
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. It's it doesn't mean.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you've lost value as an individual. Who cares?
All the stress hormone that you're pouring all over that one piece of cake that you just ate is going to be
more damaging.
Way more damaging. Yeah, and people don't realize that. People really don't realize that. You could have a half a pizza one night. It's not going to ruin your results for the whole week unless you're feeling terrible about it all week and you're stressing yourself out about how you ate this one thing that you weren't supposed to eat.
Yeah,
but that's what people do.
And cortisol goes to the stomach. So it's you're growing in your stomach just because of the stress hormones that you're pumping into your body.
Yeah.
So it's just enjoy life. That's what I want people to understand and you too, is just enjoy life and enjoy food and enjoy people and enjoy being active. That's what life is about. Not I have to eat 2,000 calories and oh my God, if I ate 2,500, now I have to go kill myself at the gym. That is not life for me. That is not what I consider.
That was me.
That was me too.
Yeah,
I was not happy.
Yeah, I was that guy that if I ate something I knew I wasn't supposed to, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to go for a jog after dinner.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you have to excuse. Well, one of the things I tell people is you should never feel guilty about feeding your body. Granted, McDonald's, going to Pizza Hut, it's not the best for your body.
Amount versus, quantity versus quality. Higher quantity of good things, right, is okay versus, low quality foods.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
That makes sense, right?
No, it did make sense. I don't know if that's what I was trying to say. Now I'm confused. I don't know. But what I'm saying is, just be happy. And if you end up having pizza and beer with your friends, and if that made you happy for that day, that's fine. And then the next day, just go back to your plan,
Yeah.
Because if you're like, oh my God, I ate that pizza, I failed, I quit. I knew it, I was going to fail. I was afraid of this, I've been stressing out about this, and I did it, and so now I quit. That's not beneficial for you.
Yeah, and that goes right back into the whole I'm an all in or all out kind of bullshit excuse. Okay? Because it's what it is. You can't just be all in or all out of life. Okay? If I'm not going to do everything right?
Yeah.
If the all in or all out person, well, it's I'm going to do everything right in life or I'm going to kill myself. That's not how it works.
Right.
So give yourself a little bit of space
and
to
slack.
Yeah, and possibly enjoy a food that's not good for you, but you would enjoy the taste of.
Yeah, not to say that, binging is an excuse, just like Jen said,
Yeah.
this makes me happy. But, I mean, if the opportunity presents itself, just don't worry about it.
Yeah,
It doesn't mean that you're a failure. That's the point.
So, that's it, guys. I think we'll cap it there.
All right, sounds
All
good.
right. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Heavy Thoughts. And hopefully we left you with some heavy thoughts. We'll see you guys next week.